Now that we've learned about externalities, let's learn a little more about public goods. So, while the two are often related, they have slightly different logics. In particular, while externalities have to do with whether your pricing system, demand side, supply side, fully captured the costs, individual and social, of consumption and production, public goods have slightly different characteristics. For this, we need to think about what we are actually assuming when we talk about the sale or purchase of a good. In particular, the purchase of a good. When you buy an apple, it's your apple. Nobody else can eat that apple. You eat it, you bought it, you eat it, you throw it in the dustbin, you forget about it, it rots. It doesn't matter. Purchases are exclusionary. So when I buy a good, the benefit of the good is personal. The use of the good is personal. What makes a good a public good is that doesn't happen. I can go to the beach. I like the beach. I love the beach. I can use the beach unless I'm someone kind of not really understanding how to share my space. I can't stop others from using it. So it's not like my apple, right? I buy my apple, I eat my apple, it's my apple. I throw it away, I use it, my apple. I go to the beach, I have to share that space with others. More importantly, my benefit from this space might be shaped by, but isn't dependent on excluding everybody else from using that space. In fact, in some cases, I go to the community swimming pool. Having other people there is actually great. This is where I do my community yoga class, my community swim, where I meet my neighbors. In fact, sharing the space is a big deal. It's a big part of how this works. So there are particular kinds of goods where the provision of the good is very difficult to do via private markets. The provision of the good is very difficult to do via private markets, because private markets, like when I go to Rite Aid or to Safeway, depends on me buying my own thing. Some kinds of goods actually are public. Hiking trails, going to Mount Rainier, having time at Sandpoint with my doggies in the off-leash dog park. All of those are public goods where the provision of this actually depends on multiple people using it and not excluding each other from using it. So public goods are kind of interesting, because how do you supply them? Because my demand to go to the dog park isn't independent of the fact that other people take their doggies to the dog park. In fact, it depends on the fact that when I go to the dog park, there are other doggies there and they're all using it, right? So my demand kind of actually depends on other people's demand. My value for some things also just depends on the idea that I like people to enjoy this. So, for example, I'll be very honest. People ask me, Professor, you're in Seattle, do you like hiking? Do you like... I always say yes. I'm lying. I don't like that much physical exercise. What I like is that I live in a city where we support people who like hiking. Even if I don't hike, I just like the presence of nature, and maybe I'll go for a picnic, and I do. I love taking the ferry, going to Friday Harbor, taking my dogs. I'll do it now once a year. It's very nice. I love the fact that I live in a city where people can enjoy this. Here's another one. I love the opera. I go to the opera. I love Seattle Art Museum. I go there. I go to the art museum how often? Twice a year. But I love the fact that we have an art museum that supports our artists. And I'm willing to pay for that. So public goods have this very interesting profile. They are goods that aren't like apples and oranges and newspapers and all the things you've read off before. They are the kind of goods where you actually value them non-exclusionarily, without exclusion. You in fact value them because they do not exclude other people from enjoying them too. So the economics of public goods is very different, because public goods cannot anymore be efficiently provided through our neoclassical free market theory, which depended on the exclusionary idea. We now have to adapt our theory to ask ourselves, how do we then provide and pay for parks, roads, art? The sheer volume of this is huge. And in fact, this is one of the most important elements, not of federal. For federal, you will come to macro or state, local, city level, county level, government provision. Local, city, county level provision of goods and services based on microeconomics due to public goods. This is your swimming pools, your parks, your hiking trails, your community centers, your roads, your local arts council, all of that. This is where your enjoyment of something isn't based on buying it personally just for yourself. To enjoy art, I don't have to buy it and keep it in my house. I like to go to the museum and enjoy it with everyone else, right? So that collective element, non-exclusionary element, is what's happening with public goods. So the final element here is that in order to figure out how to provide public goods, what we need to do is to then check out how much people are willing to pay for access. So we do this, right? How much will you pay in order to go to the swimming pool? I'm willing to pay $5. Right? How much will you pay to go to the hiking trail? I'm willing to pay $15, whatever. We have to change what we did. Instead of thinking about, I'll give you a price, tell me how much you buy, I have to switch the logic. This is the one time where we go from quantity to price. I'm going to ask you, right? How much will you pay in order to spend an hour at the art museum? Quantity to price. How much will you pay in order to go to Yellowstone National Park for a day? Quantity to price. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at people's payment readiness, and I'm using that as a way to figure out either the money I charge people, right? When I go to the community center, they charge me for yoga classes, hiking, whatever, or taxation. We preserve the Mount Rainier trails with a little bit of taxation. In this case, we are going from demand, volume, readiness to pay, to figure out how much to charge. So public goods have a very different way for us to figure out how to handle them. But it is crucial for us to understand them, because public goods are our parks, our roads, our art. They are our schools. And if we don't understand that, we will not understand how to finance public goods, many and many of which are crucial for our daily lives.